Good day all. It is 4:11 on 9/11/2024, 4:11 p.m. So I start recording this. It is the day that certainly I recognise in my lifetime as a pivotal moment 23 years ago when humanity died. It wasn't just those 3,000 people that were used as a sacrifice to pursue an agenda who were murdered by their own governments. It was what has come from that. How many people have died since at the hands of their governments? You've only got to look at COVID. How much more are we going to take? That's the question for me. Not just today, but especially today. How much more are we going to take? I'm Basil. This is my channel, the Self-Preservation Society, wherever you're listening. There's a link to it in the description box below, where all my work is. I'm Basil, BBTT, Basil Broadcasting Truth and Therapy. Here I am using the talking stick. And in front of you, you see a stag. And in Native American teachings, the stag is recognised as one with esteem. Certainly in my medicine cards, the Jamie Sam's medicine cards, the stag teaches us about esteem. So I speak to you, my fellow man. How much more are we going to take? How much more are we going to ignore? How much more are we going to turn a blind eye to until we, like cornered rats, fight back? The longer you leave it, the longer we leave it, the more we have to fight back against. Because I've said to you time and time again, it's not the 13 families, it's not the Council of 300, it's not the World Economic Forum, the Bilderberg Commission, the World Health Organization. It's not your governments. It's all those that work for governments and vote for governments. And of that charge, I stand not guilty, because I have too much esteem to be part of that and to support that which enslaves us. On this day, 23 years ago, when over 3,000 people were killed, it started, it continued, but we take it as a starting point. The enforced enslavement of mind, body, spirit, and indeed soul of all those incarnate upon the earth. And it will never ever end. No one but no one anywhere at any time has ever given us anything other than the knowledge to save ourselves. Nobody has ever come to save us, ever, in the history of the universe. It is incumbent upon us individually and collectively to stand, acknowledge, understand, resonate with universal law, LORE, natural law, LORE, and stand in common law, LAW, against all those that enslave us. It's not their agents. And I say that in the context of those that are crossing borders. They're just dancing to the tune of their master, our masters, in a different way to you and I maybe dancing to the tune of our masters. They're being played just like you've been played, we've been played, I've been played. We've realised the real lies and see how we've been played. And I seek to enlighten and empower you to the same awareness that I have and that I share here. I don't do it to court favour with you individually, whoever you are. I don't want to court favour with you. I don't want you to look at me or listen to me and think, I'm a leader. I'm not. I'm an anarchist. I don't believe in leaders and rulers and people like that. Those that would seek to hold court, power and dominion over another. I sit here, I philosophise and I wonder about things because I see them and I wonder how long it will take for everybody else to see them and do something about it. It all boils down to fear. Fear of death, ultimately, because the majority of the people incarnated here are in fear of death. You can't die for the life of you. When you make this, understand this, and use it as your mantra, you can't die for the life of you. You will have no fear. They will not be able to control you. It's down to you. Completely and utterly down to you. To wake up from your slumber. To do away with all that which no longer serves you. Ultimately, fear. Fear does not serve you. There is no death. There is only change. And we are so fearful of change, we allow others to change things for us. And we just acquiesce. And we comply. Because we don't know who and what we are and how powerful we are. We are much more powerful than them individually. Much more powerful than them. And yet they take that power and utilise it because of our ignorance against us. It is the day that certainly in my lifetime, 23 years ago, that changed history. But did it change history? No, it didn't really, did it? Because the same things continued. I was one of those that really woke up to it then, although I was waking up to it before. But that really woke me up to it. And I've been seeing it clearer and clearer ever since in the last 23 years. Governments are supposed to represent you, the people. They're not supposed to control you. And nor are they agents or minions. They are supposed to represent you and to serve you. And instead, we serve them. How did that happen? How did that suddenly happen? Well, it didn't suddenly happen, did it? It's been happening for so long. And all an individual can do, as I've done, is wake up, smell the coffee, and see things as they really are, and not as we would want them to be. Because that's it. As long as it's not affecting us, it doesn't matter. But it will affect us all. If it isn't doing so now, if you're not feeling the pain now that the Palestinian people are feeling, for instance, or the Lebanese people, or the Yemeni people, or the Syrian people, you will be feeling it. And all the trauma associated with that pain. If it were not so, then I would not tell you. I'm not here to plead with you. I'm not here to beg you. But I am here to ask you, for pity's sake, wake up. Just wake up and smell the coffee. Stop voting for these people. That won't change things overnight, what's happening outside of you, but it will change you. You've got to change you first before you've got any hope of changing anything outside of you. It's you that has to change. And that's why I do what I do here on my channel. You've got to change the way you see things. You've got to change the way you react to things. You've got to change the way you understand things. And then, and only then, will you have a hope will we have a hope of changing that which is outside of us. "23 years ago today, I sat in my living room watching those pictures on the telly, and then at 5 o'clock, was it, British time, the BBC went to speak live with Jane Stanley, and she reported the third tower had come down. It was still standing behind her. Surely that is enough to wake you up, to see that it was bugger all to do with Osama bin Laden. That one thing. And then they went back to her, or went back 20 minutes or so later when it did come down. No plane, just like the other two towers, no planes. They were set with devices, bombs, and anybody that's done any research on this will see how they fell into their own footprint, and that was a textbook demolition. And since then, they've continued with that, piece by piece, and we tolerate it because it's not affecting us. Here in Britain, we've just had a general election a few months back, and a bloke has been elected as Prime Minister that protected Jimmy Savile, that rampant paedophile and necrophiliac and everything else. Prince, who was a good friend of Prince Charles and Lord Louis Mountbatten. He used to supply kids to them. Princess Diana hated him. It's a big fat club and you ain't in it. This Keir Starmer, a few years back, voted or pushed through, helped to push through a bill that these any illegal immigrant would get benefits when they come here. Now, I'm not decrying these people. I really am not. I'm decrying him. This Keir Starmer has now done away with old age pensioners' winter fuel allowances after saying, when he wasn't in office, supporting the pensioners and this, and now he's done it. Don't matter. It's Keir Starmer. It doesn't matter who's in there. They all do the same because they're dancing to the tune of their masters. And one way or another, we've got to eradicate the power that they control us with. And the only way to eradicate it is to take it back. I do not consent. But before you can say that, you've got to understand what it means and understand how the world works and why it works the way that it does. Because your friends and family are propping up this system by working for government, in the civil service, in the police, in the army, in the navy, in the air force, all these different arms of government, in the health service, this, that and the other. All of it is to enslave you. You don't need a health service. You just need to be healthy. And to be healthy, you need to eat naturally, breathe naturally, and drink naturally. Nobody does that anymore, because everything that we need in order to live on this planet has been modified and corrupted. Wake up to this. Do your own research. Look up the weather modification patents. Look at all the people bringing so much knowledge and information about food, and how Bill Gates is the biggest farmer in America, and all this, that and the other. Look up BlackRock, Vanguard and State Street and understand that these companies own the world. For pity's sake, wake up. Stop voting for your enslavement. You can't vote to be free. You can only realise the real lies that you are free. That's all you can do. And you won't do it by getting your information off the telly. You just will not do it. The telly is there to control your mind, just the same as their books are there to control your mind and your thought processes. When you wake up to that, you see the world as it truly is, and not as they want you to see it. See this picture you're looking at now? It's a star fort. That is the citadel at the Western Heights, Dover. In my description box, you'll see a link from Karen and Mickey's page, YouTube channel, where they do come up the south coast of England, looking at the Martello Towers, and they end up at both the Eastern and Western Heights. Look up star forts. Wherever you live in the world, there's chances are that there's one there. Statue of Liberty's on one. Seek to understand what the star fort is, what it was originally built for. And it wasn't built for defences, I can assure you of that. But you come to your own awareness. It was built to resonate with the natural energies of the world and to transfer them about through all the different ancient megalithic sites and structures, to work in balance with them. And all that has been taken from us. All that free energy, this, that and the other. And all your energy goes into working for a living, when all you should be doing is working to live. This is the day that humanity died, and I will spend the rest of my days trying to breathe life back into humanity, to awaken mankind to its true self, to awaken people to transcend the spiritual aspect of self to the conscious aspect of self and what you truly are, the light and the way. I'll spend the rest of my days doing that. Like the bloke with the sandwich board. The end of the world is nigh. Me, the beginning of the universe, is nigh. Not just the earth, the universe. I will spend the rest of my days trying to wake people up, to breathe new life into a dying culture. I'll spend the rest of my days doing it because it's the right thing to do, and I do it for the right reasons. I don't ever want to bear witness to the horrors of 23 years ago again. I don't want to bear witness to the horrors of Palestine again. I don't want to bear witness to children being kidnapped, raped, buggered, murdered, having their blood drained so people can feast upon their adrenaline-fueled blood. I want to change all that, and I'll spend the rest of my days finding a way to do it. And you're either with me or you're against me. The choice is yours. But don't try and stop me from doing it. If you can't do it yourself, don't want to do it, don't try and stop me from doing it. Because I am the light. I am the way. And I walk and talk in accordance with universal law, L-O-R-E, natural law, L-O-R-E, and I stand in common law, L-A-W. And I will continue to do so, no matter who mocks me, who blocks me, or who tries to stop me. All the while I'm incarnated here, it will never cease. I will never cease, and I will not cease when I leave this physical third-dimensional reality. And you're either with me, or you're watching the telly, or going to see Oasis, or something like that. This is the day humanity died. Help me to breathe new life back into it, to awaken mankind. Palamia, thank you. In Lakesh, in you I see an enemy. Mitachwi o Yasin, we are all related, we are all relatives, but I tell you and continue to tell you, we are all connected. Rise, Lazarus, rise.